We're here at the VMware Public Sector Innovation Summit with Keith Nakasone, Senior Federal Strategist at VMware. Keith, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So let me start by asking, how do you see agencies and the American public benefiting from the government's adoption of a multi-cloud strategy?
So one of the benefits is, building in that efficiency and effectiveness with the multi-cloud adoption. With the pandemic and when things hit, agencies had to operate differently, went to a hybrid kind of environment where systems and the applications needed to be used from a remote perspective, right? And so as we move and evolve, the legacy systems need to move forward in order to support the taxpayers, right? A lot of government agencies are built in and around providing some kind of support and service. And so having that ability to pivot and move towards a more hybrid workforce environment and allowing these tools to be used in a remote location or at home can still keep the government running. And I think it's eventually going to evolve and build out a more robust IT modernized ecosystem for the workforce.
And then how do you see the public sector agencies taking more innovative approaches to cybersecurity and data protection in 2022 using the cloud?
So from a security standpoint, when you evolve and move towards the new multi-cloud adoption, you can relook and assess your security posture, your security framework, and start building in some of that additional tools that you may need to keep the security in and around the data, right? Data at rest and data in transit. So as we move towards that ecosystem of allowing employees to work from anywhere, any place, anytime in a more hybrid environment, you're going to see the journey, if you will, because it's not going to be just one day we're doing one way, the next day we're doing another. It's really taking steps and implementing the use of applications and the use of multi-cloud in a more phased approach, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. And then next, how do you see digital workforce enablement helping government agencies improve how they actually attract and retain talent in the workforce?
This is one of the things that we have to work together from a private and public engagement, sharing that best practices of how do we educate and train the workforce moving forward, because it will evolve and change, right? When we look at the user community and the customers that are going to be using the applications in the future, they also need to be trained, because some of the business processes may change, the tools may also change as well. But having that education and training foundation in the beginning, having them adapt to the new way of doing business, you can have kind of like that organizational change in place to help enable the workforce to move more towards that digital transformation effort that's going on within all of the agencies. I can use an example like, when the pandemic hit, having that medical capability where the doctors and patients could be still diagnosed through the virtual collaboration through using collaboration tools. And I think that's, even with business processes and how we can adapt to the changes that are occurring, this new IT modernization efforts with multi-cloud will help evolve that process in time.
And then lastly, public sector agencies have had to acquire novel IT solutions pretty quickly to serve remote workers and ensure business continuity. From your view, how are those efforts shaping up longer term when it comes to IT acquisition strategies?
Right. So when we look at acquisitions, it really starts with the workforce and thought leadership around how do we retrain our acquisition workforce to deliver iterative capabilities in an IT modernization initiative, right? So, if we work towards business outcomes and mission outcomes, and we understand the challenges within the different agencies, that we can move and help the acquisition community learn with a multidisciplined approach. So it's not just learning about acquisitions, but it's learning what they're actually procuring, but also looking at the processes that are put in place and the policies that are put in place. What needs to be changed to effectively deliver more of that, the procurements in an agile and flexible manner to deliver capabilities to inject emerging technologies and innovations as it evolves over time. Because as we know, technology never stays stagnant. It continues to evolve, every 3 months or so, right? So we have to keep up with the time. We have to increase our security posture, and have that secured environment to work in support the technology side of the house. So from an acquisition perspective, again, it's the flexibility, agility, and having the workforce understand how to procure these new innovative technologies in a more holistic manner, training not just one part of the workforce, but the entire workforce to understand how to deliver new capabilities into the government.
Great. Well, Keith Nakasone, thank you so much for joining us here at the VMware Public Sector Innovation Summit.
Thanks for having me.